Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the City of Oakland's K-Top Studios. I'm Christy Johnston-Limon. I'm happy to welcome you. I'm the Deputy Director of Economic and Workforce Development here at the City of Oakland, and I oversee the Business Development Division along with a team of amazing colleagues who are here today to bring you an opportunity we're calling Oak Talks. Oak Talks is kind of a TED Talk style approach to really centering the voice of Oakland's small business community. As you all know, the City of Oakland's heart and soul is based on the success of our 30,000 or so businesses here in Oakland. And today you're going to hear from two of our beloved businesses who are going to share not just their heartbreaks and challenges, but also ways that they want to partner with you all as members of our city staff and community and partners. And so it's my pleasure to welcome you to this today. This partnership is made possible through the Oakland Fund for Public Innovation. They have this amazing program called the Cultural Strategist in Government. And what they do is they work with community partners who apply to then be embedded in city departments and bring in arts and culture and networks and a certain way of thinking and doing business that helps to, again, innovate and create and be creative in city departments. At EWD, we're super, super lucky to have an amazing cultural strategist. I've known Yvette Holtz for a long time working for arts and cultural organizations in Oakland and in the Bay Area. And it is my distinct pleasure to welcome Yvette Holtz to the stage as our cultural strategist. Please give her a warm welcome.
Thanks, Christy. So awesome to be working with you in the Office of Economic and Workforce Development. I could not have asked for a better colleague, a more responsive and open-minded and positive, proactive partner to take on ideas and ideas that kind of are really outside of the box and probably things that as staff members it's harder to do than it is when you have someone who's just like, hey, how about this? Hey, what about that? You know, we could try this that way. So it's been really wonderful. Also for me as a business owner in the East Bay to feel like I'm being heard too. As a cultural strategist, I'm also feeling like I'm being heard. So what we did, let me first just back up a second. My organization is called the Bay Area Organization of Black-Owned Businesses, and we are a merchants association working toward the betterment and improvement of quality of life throughout the East Bay by focusing on Black-owned businesses first. And with that, it's been a great pleasure to open up this opportunity, to create this opportunity and open it up to all small business owners in Oakland. And we had probably 200 times more applicants than we had room for in this Oak Talk series. So it was a very, very difficult decision on who and how folks would come and how we would organize it. But I'm so pleased with how things have come together. And our first speaker today is someone whose business I have had the pleasure of watching grow over the last several months that we've been in contact. And I'm so pleased and honored that she's here to tell her story and share some insights about what she believes will be impactful and helpful in growing her business in Oakland. If y'all will join me in welcoming LaTorra Monk from Oaklandia Cafe and Bakery to the stage.
Afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
As you've heard, I'm LaTorra, owner of Oaklandia Cafe and Bakery. This is actually our second location. We first started off on 30th Street back in 2020, right off of 30th and Broadway. We were husband and wife, and still are, that started a concept where initially a cafe was an investment. It was a secondary form of income. It wasn't primary. It wasn't supposed to be. But due to the pandemic, it became something of where our investment and all that we had was poured into this one place that was destined to fail if we did not go back and literally keep it afloat. And what that required was basically for me to, one, I had a kid right before we opened the cafe. Two, actually take somewhat of a maternity leave because the whole county state world had shut down. And I was at home with my infant of 3 months at the time. And so it took a lot to go back into a business of uncertainty. And I feel like we're still kind of in that place of uncertainty, even though that was probably about, now looking back, almost 4 years ago. So I wanted to share with you not only my experience in business and the hurdles that I had to go through in order to still be around in 2024, but also to tell you what goes on behind the scenes. You know, what is happening when you see a small business close in the city of Oakland, a place where there was community built, a place where people knew each other's names, a place where you looked forward to that was a part of your neighborhood, or that represented this very city when outsiders came, that they really got a great impression of who we are as Oaklanders. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey of the headaches that I've experienced and the growth, and the beautiful community that has kept me here today. So go along with my ride as we talk about this a little bit more. So back to 2020, reopening of 30th and Broadway in Pill Hill. At that point in time, all kitchens that were used were closed down. We had no choice but to bake from home. And there was like this phenomenon going around where home baking became the way of life, because people that had these talents and needed to make an income started baking from home, which is what my kitchen turned into for 2 years while we were off of 30th and Broadway, which meant we had no access to our kitchen. Baking from scratch is a lot of hours. You know, we had kids online, doing online school. My 5th grader was online. My 3rd grade nephew was online. My infant was being picked up by the babysitter while I woke up 6 a.m. to open my cafe. My husband, his shift would start from, let's say, he had 2 jobs. So 1 a.m., from 1 a.m. to basically 8 a.m., he was at his actual primary job. And then from there, he'd come home and deal with all the things going on with the kids. And in the late evening, he'd begin baking for the next day for our cafe. So with all that hard work and sacrifice, here I am right next to hospitals, hearing all these stories, you know, of what is really happening in the world. And the community that was there is all gone. And so we had to do pivoting. We did a lot of pivoting. The main thing was making a website that people could order from so that I could get product to them. But with there was a caveat. I had to pay additional fees. There goes an additional cost that I wasn't expecting as a business owner, because it was localized. It was word of mouth. Walk in the door, you order what you need. Now I'm doing online web services and supplying people with lunch boxes so that, 1, if they're working from home, they had something to eat. 2, also just try to get our name out there and keep us afloat. And that required not only myself working there, but I got the luxury of having 2 amazing young ladies that were at home because they couldn't go away to school for college. And it kind of set the foundation of my community involvement of taking care of one another. And they stayed with me for two years. They learned work skills. They learned how to interact with customers with the mask on and PPEP, but they were dedicated. And so I was able to keep going because I had that part-time support, although not much, but enough for me to keep my doors open. And so as we go along and we're in this new era of business, we see this huge wave of people supporting small businesses. And for the first time, I was no longer invisible. And there were literally 2 other cafes within 100 feet of my location. I remember seeing the bikers from Berkeley coming down to my cafe when the Oakland side article hit of the fundraiser that one of the mailmen started to do on my behalf. And I was in shock because, you know what, as an entrepreneur, we don't ask for help. I've never been someone that's ever asked for help. I've always been independent. Find a way. You find the resources, you do it. But I was in a new era of not having a community yet because I just got started. So for that mailman, for those students, for the bikers in Berkeley, for the article to hit, was able to open people up to seeing me and for me realizing that there is a community here. And so, as I said before, we have the students, we have my husband working at home, we have children online. We're still not making enough money because the time frame that we closed, bills have piled up. I no longer had a primary job anymore either because I was trying to save our investment. So I did what any other business owner would do. I started looking for someone that believed in my mission, someone that believed that we're good enough to keep going, to grow us. And I'll be honest with you, I never thought that I would allow investors to invest in my business because that was the whole point. I'd worked for corporations. I'd worked in startup companies. I learned a lot of my managerial skills coming up doing those things. And so it took a lot out of me to, again, ask for help and sell myself. You know, you always wonder, am I good enough? Are they gonna really, really invest in me? Well, they decided, yeah, we're gonna do it. And I keep those people synonymous because they're in the background. They're not on the day-to-day operations. They were a source of one-time pump into the business. And from there on, I'm on my own, essentially. So here we are on 12th Street. Finally, my husband doesn't have to bake from home anymore. I get my kitchen back. And we come here, 2022. It's still pretty quiet in the office level. We kept hearing inklings and rumors. Oh, the state building's coming back. Oh, the city of Oakland's going to bring their employees back 3 days a week, 2 days a week. Oh, the federal people are coming back. They're going to be back once a month. I'm like, what? What is this? All right, okay, guess what? I still have my community. I'm going to continue to pour into my community. So what I did was, when I got the opportunity to partner with the book vending machine, which was Sister Sci-Fi, another Black woman with an amazing concept of bringing literature to where book bins are really the thing these days. I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to support you 1,000% because I believe in the future of our people, of literacy, financial literacy, of all the things that make Oaklandia, Oaklandia. We hosted local authors. We hosted, the grand opening of the book machine. It was a national story. But in that national story, of course, there's struggle going on in the background. People still aren't back. You can host an event. It's great. You can fill a room. You make some money that day. But what about the rest of the 4 days? The bills still exist, right? So as you can see, we have art in our cafe. We partnered with a local artist that was off of San Pablo, and their art, amazing. It was everything that I wanted to represent in my cafe. And unfortunately, the pandemic and people suffering financially hit them too. They said, we're closing our gallery. Would you like to purchase these paintings that we've done? And I looked at my husband and I said, yes. I mean, we got to work out a payment plan, but yeah. Because having to switch my art in the art gallery, they're giant pieces. It's really hard to find pieces for that space. So I said, absolutely, you are a part of Oaklandia. So that was our other give back. We're like, we want to support local artists. We want to have that work within our gallery. We've done everything from partnering with local youth organizations. One of them we did was EOYDC this past July. Another one was with Oakland Public Fund of Innovations. They hosted a financial literacy event, and we were there as the source of food as well as the space. And as you can see, the person who sponsored the event was IC Baby Foundation, which is a Bay Area artist, Sweetie's Foundation, and it talked about financial literacy, all things that are near and dear to me to make a better future for our children. And so, again, We do these things. We're a part of the community. But there's still things going on in the background because we're not back to normal. We're in this gray area of normalcy. And I feel that it's important that the city understands that within the time that I was there for the last 2 years, at least 7 businesses that were there when I got there are no longer there. No one's asking, what do you need help with? What costs can we take off your hands to keep you here? Because you are a pillar of our community. You know, we partner with high schools. It goes back to where I started. Internships. This employee is now my employee. He started off as a high school intern. He's going off to the UC, literally next week. And with that, I hope to be able to give him a scholarship because that's what I believe in giving back. So that being said, what I ask for the city is get on the ground floor. Ask your local businesses that are still here, that are brick and mortars, what do they need? Create grants. If businesses are partnering with the community, create grants to where that money can be invested in the next generation. Because the work that we're doing right now is not for us. It's for what's going to come later on. I'm a business owner. I'm a property owner here. And every day when you walk in my business, I'm not twiddling thumbs. My hand is in every part of my business. I'm a 4th generation Oaklander. I had to leave here in order to come back and be better because my family was impacted with the things that exist this very day. Drugs, you know, poor community, poor health, quality of life. I've poured everything I have at this point. And so for me, it was really important to be here to speak out and say that. So thank you for your time today. Any questions?
Amazing. Yeah, I want to invite anyone with questions for LaTorra. This is a great opportunity. If you wouldn't mind to just come up to the mic so that we can get it on the recording. But I also just want to take a moment and thank you because I know even right now as we're speaking, your business is open and operating with the interns and the high school students and the folks that you've been able to employ and just keeping that in balance is a lot.
And giving people second chances because I have people that did not have the best, make the best choices and helping them stay a member of society, a positive member of one. I do that as well. So.
And can I just offer one question for you,
Sure.
and then maybe that'll give others the feeling of freedom to be able to ask as well. But I'm curious about your experience in going from your original location to your expanded location, and what was the process as far as getting your permits and planning and all of that kind of stuff going?
I'll be honest with you, a lot of it is kind of a blur because here's the thing. I was operating the small location at the same time as the larger one. So the larger one was under construction and I was in between both places, letting my staff run the smaller location. And I just remember the first time I had to get permits, I had to sit for 2 hours. I remember when I got my first set of permits for the first location, it was 2 hours I was sitting in the permit department. And it was kind of a maze because honestly, I had never really been downtown to do the process of anything. So I had to ask questions, be pointed here, be pointed there. The second time around, I think I was more apt than the first. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you so much for being here. I heard you say loud and clear, you don't have people coming to you and asking you what you need. I assume you're saying that on behalf of other businesses as well.
Yeah.
And we want to be asking what you need. I'm curious what you think the best forum is for it. If it's coming to the business or surveys or invitations to come meet with us, or what's the best way to work with you?
Honestly, thank you for bringing that up. I didn't mention that. I think a survey would be good. And I think if you hit the main top line items on anyone's P&L, Like the overhead costs, like PG&E is one of the biggest ones. PG&E, even rent, because like even though I'm here, I'm still paying my old landlord. I'm still paying him back because I broke my lease. And that impacts me financially today because it's not funds that I'm able to operate with. I think those top 4 line items on a P&L would definitely help a lot of the small business owners.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you all again, but I want to give LaTorra another glowing, fabulous round of applause and appreciation for sharing with us. And we'll take a break after this. Let's just give her a hand. And a hug.